no GPS, no road signs, no glowing blue dot on a phone telling you, turn left in 300 feet. Now imagine you are an ancient human. You leave your camp in the morning to search for food. You walk through grasslands, forests, rocks, rivers, hills, and valleys. Every tree looks like another tree. Every patch of grass looks like another patch of grass. There are no street names, no maps, no compass in your pocket. And then the sun starts going down. The air gets colder. The shadows get longer. And somewhere in the distance, an animal makes a sound you do not want to hear. So here is the strange question. How did ancient humans find their way home? Because getting lost was not just annoying. It was not like missing a bus or taking the wrong exit. For ancient humans, getting lost could mean death. No shelter, no fire, no group, no protection, no food, no one coming to rescue you. And yet, ancient humans crossed huge landscapes, followed animals, searched for water, migrated across continents, and somehow returned to the places that kept them alive. So maybe the real answer is this. Ancient humans did not need Google Maps because the world itself was their map, but they had to learn how to read it. The first map was probably not drawn on stone or skin. It was drawn inside the brain. A hill was not just a hill. It was the hill near the water. A tree was not just a tree. It was the twisted tree where we turned left. A river was not just a river. It was the silver line that takes us back. Ancient humans lived in a world full of signs, and every sign could matter. The shape of a mountain, the direction of a river, the smell of wet soil, the sound of birds, the position of the sun, stars at night, the slope of the land, even the direction of the wind. Today, you might walk past a rock and ignore it, but for an ancient human, that rock could be a landmark, a memory point, a warning, a direction. That rock might say, "You are close to camp," or "Do not go past here," or "Water is nearby," or "Predators come through this valley." This is one of the most underrated human superpowers, pattern memory. Your brain is not just made to think, it is made to notice. It notices where things are. It remembers routes. It connects places. It builds invisible maps. Even today, when you walk through your neighborhood, you do not calculate every step. You do not say, after 48 meters, rotate body 32 degrees. You just know. Your body remembers. Your eyes remember. Your brain remembers. Now imagine that same ability, but trained every day since childhood. Ancient children did not learn geography from textbooks. They learned it by walking. They followed adults. They watched where people turned. They learned which plants grew near water. They learned which animal tracks meant danger. They learned which valleys were safe. They learned which places were never visited alone. Their classroom was the landscape, and the test was survival. One of the easiest ways to navigate was by following natural lines. Rivers are almost perfect guides. They move through the land like long, shining roads. If you know where a river flows, you can follow it back. If you know where your camp is compared to the river, you have a living compass. Mountains also helped. A mountain does not move. A cliff does not disappear. A strange-shaped rock can stay in the same place for generations. So ancient humans probably built routes from memory points. Go past the big tree. Cross the shallow stream, turn near the red rock, walk toward the split hill, stop before the dark forest. That sounds simple, but simple does not mean weak. A modern phone gives you instructions. Ancient humans had to create the instructions inside their minds. And this is where it gets even more interesting. They did not only remember places, they remembered stories. Before written maps, many cultures used oral knowledge, songs, stories, names, and repeated phrases to connect people with landscapes. A route was not always just go here, then go there. It could be a story about ancestors, a song about water holes, a memory chain tied to hills, stars, animals, and sacred places. When you put information into a story, it becomes easier to remember. That is why you can forget a password, but still remember a song from years ago. So imagine ancient people walking across the land while repeating a route as a story. This rock means turn. This hill means keep going. This valley means danger. This star means direction. This song means home. The land was not empty. It was full of memory. And then there was the sky. During the day, the sun was one of the biggest clues. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It moves across the sky in a pattern. Ancient humans did not need to understand astronomy with modern science to notice this. They watched the sky constantly. They watched shadows. They watched sunrise. They watched sunset. They watched seasons change. If you lived outdoors your whole life, the sky was not background decoration. It was a clock, a calendar, a direction finder. At night, the stars became another kind of map. To us, stars can look random, but to people who spent thousands of nights under open skies, star patterns were familiar. Certain stars rose in certain places. Certain constellations appeared during certain seasons. Some stars helped people understand direction. The sky gave clues when the ground became dark. But here is the problem. Clouds can hide stars. Rain can erase tracks. Fog can cover mountains. A storm can make everything look unfamiliar. So ancient navigation could not depend on just one clue. It had to use many clues at once. This is called wayfinding, not just following a map, but reading the whole environment. The sky, the land, the animals, the plants, the wind, the water, the memory of the group. And sometimes, animals themselves became signs. Birds can tell you things. Certain birds may fly toward land. Animal trails may lead to water. Fresh tracks may show where herds moved. Insects may gather near wet places. Predator signs may warn you to change direction. Ancient humans were not just walking through nature. They were listening to it. A broken branch, a muddy footprint, a sudden silence in the trees, a smell in the wind. These were not random details. They were information. Today, we look down at screens. Ancient humans looked outward. They had to, because the world was constantly speaking, and missing one sign could be dangerous. But what if they still got lost? That is where group knowledge mattered. A single person could forget, but a group remembers more. One person knows the river path. Another knows the berry area. Another knows the hunting route. Another remembers the safe cave. Another remembers where the ground turns muddy after rain. Together, the group becomes a living map. This may be one reason humans are so social. We survive by sharing memory. Your brain does not have to know everything if your group knows different pieces. One person sees the mountain. One person remembers the stream. One person smells smoke. One person recognizes bird calls. One person says, "This is the wrong valley." And suddenly, the group turns back before it is too late. This is important because ancient humans were not superheroes. They got confused. They made mistakes. They probably argued. They probably followed the wrong path sometimes. But over time, the people who learned the land better had a survival advantage. If you could find water, you lived longer. If you could return to camp, you protected your family. If you could guide others, you became valuable. If you remembered dangerous places, you saved lives. Navigation was not just a skill, it was power. The person who knew the way could lead the group through fear. And this may be why humans still respect people who know the way. Guides, scouts, explorers, elders, hunters, storytellers, they all carry maps, not always in their hands, but in their memory. And there is another strange part. The route home was not only physical, it was emotional. Home was fire, home was food, home was voices, home was safety. Home was the place where the darkness felt less dangerous. So ancient humans were not just navigating to a location, they were navigating back to belonging. Think about a child in an ancient camp. The child watches adults return from far away. They come back with food, tools, stories, warnings. The child learns something powerful. The world is huge. The world is dangerous. But the world can be known. That feeling may still live inside us, because even now, humans hate being lost. Your phone dies in an unknown city, and your body reacts. Your chest tightens, your attention sharpens, you start looking for signs, a building, a road, a familiar sound, a direction. That old system wakes up. For a moment, you become ancient again. You scan, you remember, you compare, you ask, where am I? That question is older than maps, older than roads, older than cities. Where am I? And right behind it comes the deeper question, how do I get back? Modern GPS has made navigation easy, maybe too easy. Now we can travel across a city without remembering the route. We can follow a blue line and arrive without building a map in our minds. But ancient humans could not outsource their attention. They had to notice everything. The curve of the river, the smell of smoke, the color of the sky, the line of hills, the movement of birds, the story of the path. Their world was not labeled. They had to label it with memory. And maybe that is why the human brain became so good at connecting things. Place to place, sound to danger, sky to season, story to direction, memory to survival. A map is not just paper. A map is a relationship between you and the world. Ancient humans found their way home because they were trained by the land every single day. They walked slowly enough to notice. They listened carefully enough to learn. They remembered deeply enough to return. No GPS, no signs. No roads, just eyes, memory, sky, story, and fear. And maybe that is the most human part of all. Before we built maps of the world built maps inside us.